Hello everyone, my name is Ray Bowman and this is my week 1 presentation for MPA 540 Human Resource Management for the Public Sector, and my focus this week is my student introduction and the tides of reform. So here's a quick overview of what I'll cover today. Of course, first I will do a student introduction and a few facts about myself. The second part of this presentation will focus on the tides of reform, which involves 4 different tides: scientific management, war on waste, the watchful eye, and liberation management. I'll of course have a slide for my references and a closing. So, a little bit about myself. My name is Ray. I am a San Gabriel Valley local, so not too far from our Riverside campus. I'm also currently the Deputy Director of Administrative Services for the City of Monrovia. And administrative services is synonymous to finance, so I help oversee the financial operations of the city. On a personal note, I love to travel, and pictured here are a few places that I've been to in the last several years, which include Iceland, Mexico, Greece, Peru, Japan, which is one of my favorites, and France. I'm hoping that after completion of my master's program, I can plan another big trip as a celebration. I'm also a dog mom to that white dog pictured on this slide. His name is Theo. He's a special needs dog, and he is the best boy ever. So now on to the second part of the presentation, which covers the tides of reform. And the tides of reform was a framework provided to us by Paul Light through his book that was published in the mid-1990s. It gave us 4 tides of government reforms that have kind of happened over time and gives us insight on the impacts on human resource management. Those 4 tides are listed on the slide: the scientific management, war on waste, the watchful eye, and liberation management. And we'll cover that in the next few slides. So, the first tide discussed in our book is scientific management. This revolves around the ideas of hierarchy, division of labor, think classical theories of public administration that centered on efficiency. One of those principles is popularly known as PODSCORP, which is planning, organizing, staffing, directing, coordinating, reporting, and budgeting. That's what the acronym stands for. This affects human resources because of scientific management's emphasis essentially in human productivity and also conformity. It's an approach that essentially turns the workforce into a formulaic management style. So think standardized job descriptions, classifications, maybe even standardized civil service exams. And the public agency example I chose for this style of management is the City of Los Angeles's police department in particular. This department utilizes the National Testing Network, which provides standardized testing for public safety agencies. The National Testing Network focuses on streamlining the hiring process by providing tests, assessments, really quick scheduling, and secure test results. And this efficiency-driven process essentially aligns with the scientific management tide. The second tide is the war on waste, which really focused on economy, compliance, and oversight. This meant that there was also an emphasis on audits, investigations, and inspections that sought to find waste and internal corruption. In the world of human resources, this meant frequent audits, scandals, investigations, maybe even some whistleblowing. And this focus on finding waste would generally lead to tighter internal controls and more regulations and reporting, and a lot of maybe micromanagement and supervision. Employees in this reform are more apt to kind of act by the book out of fear of being criticized. And even though this approach essentially looks to reduce waste, it can also increase bureaucracy. The public agency example that I'm providing for this is actually the City of Monrovia and its annual audit and compliance procedures. And this really goes for any organization that has periodic, if not annual, external audits to ensure that there's no fraud, waste, or material misstatements in the financials. In addition to this, the City of Monrovia also utilizes an anonymous hotline for anyone who wants to call in if they suspect either fraud or waste occurring in the city. And I thought this was really in line with the War on Waste tide. The third tide is the watchful eye, which emphasizes fairness, transparency, and access to information. In human resources, this could mean that hiring process are focused on being fair, that labor relations are equitable, and that there is a due process available to the workforce. The goal of this tide is essentially accountability. So, under the watchful eye, that is the focus. The public agency example that I chose here is the Government Accountability Office, or the GAO. And the GAO is known to really place a lot of importance on treating employees fairly. They were named as one of the best places to work among mid-sized agencies for 5 years in a row now in the Partnership for Public Services annual list of best places to work in the federal government in 2024. So that's one example that I thought lined up pretty nicely with the watchful eye. And lastly, the fourth tide is liberation management. The emphasis here is on improving performance. So think evaluations, results driven, those are prevalent in this type of management style under this tide of reform. The focus here, though, is flexibility, more employee empowerment, more focus on customer service, and kind of flattening out the hierarchy. There's this decentralization of management that occurs under this tide of reform. And again, there's more flexibility than previous tides that focused on more bureaucratic ideals and definitely did away with kind of the micromanagement of previous tides. The public agency example that I chose here is the National Aeronautic and Space Administration, also popularly known to all of us as NASA. We know that NASA encourages curiosity, and part of their ethos is doing so, encouraging curiosity, innovation, and really pushing their employees to grow, adapt, and explore, which is in line with employee empowerment and improving performance under liberation management. And this is my slide, which includes the references used in this presentation. And with that, I'd like to thank you for your time, and I look forward to your presentations and getting your feedback. Thanks so much, and have a great rest of your day.